Today is the 2nd of February, 2025, and this is Dr. Wayne Hayde, the Watchman. And I want to do several voice notes addressing the ongoing saga involving Commissioner of Police Earla Harewood Christopher. So let me start with this part one by clearing up some misconceptions. The commissioner has been released from custody, and people are asking, well, the case collapsed. That is it. Why they arrest her? What happened? Somebody should be prosecuted or investigated. It's a misunderstanding of the law. Her release does not mean that the investigation has stopped or that she cannot be subsequently rearrested, charged, and prosecuted for a crime that is being investigated. It simply means that the 48 hours period for which she can be kept in custody before being charged was about to or had expired, and therefore she has to be released. That should clear up that misconception people have that the whole thing was somehow malicious. Well, I don't know if it was malicious, the arrest, but if you have proper grounds to arrest, then it wouldn't be malicious under the law. But let's go back to the issue that caused the arrest and work through it to see, even without knowing the specific evidence, whether it can constitute a crime. So let's start with Mr. Roger Best, Major Best, a former member of the Defense Force who is now a civilian. So let's assume Mr. Best wants to get possession of a prohibited weapon. And he decides, I will apply through the normal processes to the commissioner to see if she will approve it. If it reaches the commissioner's desk and she does not approve it, even though Mr. Best might have known that it's illegal to possess such a firearm, he has committed no offense. But when it reaches the commissioner's desk, if she, out of ignorance or avarice, decides to issue an approval, and then the weapon is imported into the country through a firearm dealer, Mr. Best still has not committed an offense. It is arguable that the commissioner breached the law and therefore ought to and is liable for prosecution for breach of the Firearms Act. But as I said, I wonder if that is the best way to approach such a matter in such circumstances. But let's go a little further. If Mr. Best takes any action to obtain either actual or constructive possession of the prohibited weapon, then he is in breach of the law and can be prosecuted for it, even though it is the commissioner who committed the act by bringing in the prohibited weapon after his application. But in such a scenario, then the commissioner and Mr. Best both have to be prosecuted, because you can't prosecute the man who follows the instructions of the higher authority, the authority to grant, and takes possession of something which he ought not to, but then you will charge him and not the commissioner. That will be wrong. But so the question is, did Mr. Best obtain possession of those weapons? And if he did not, then he should be out of the case. Except that a funny thing happened on the way to the approval, which I found out I always assume that when a person wants to apply for a firearm, they make an application to the commissioner, and then the commissioner approves it, and then it goes to a dealer selected by some means, and then the dealer does the importation based on the approval. But what I understand happened, and is what happens all the time, is that the person making the application goes to the dealer, and then the dealer sends it to the commissioner.